Hey guys, this is Mike. How's it going? So we're seeing a lot of strength in the cannabis sector right now. So I wanted to drop in and share an update with everyone and let everybody know what's going on. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at some statistics. The cannabis sector is off to a really good start in 2019. If you take a look at this chart here that I brought up, the North American Marijuana Index, what you can see is that since the end of 2018, end of December, beginning of 2019, the cannabis stock index has been on a pretty nice rally here. It's up from 193 and it closed the day at 256. So that would be about 25%, 30% rally in the last couple of weeks. More recently, we're seeing a lot of strength in sector leader Canopy Growth Corp, the largest cannabis company in the world, headquartered out of Canada, but operates globally. A lot of strength in Canopy is driving the broader strength in the cannabis sector, but let's go ahead and take a look at Canopy here. This is a 1-year chart, and as you can see, Canopy shares were kind of weak in the fourth quarter. They fell more than 50%. However, since the end of December, Canopy's gotten a really nice rebound right here, really nice bounce coming into play. Looks like shares bottomed out at $36 and they're basically at $50 right now. So let's go ahead and do the math on that. That's a 39% rebound from the low. Some really nice, some really bullish signals come out of Canopy. So what happened here is Canopy broke this downtrend and it just bounced hard. People got enthusiastic about it. So Canopy is having a nice rebound here. So here's the question is, number one, is it why did it rally? And then number two, I'm going to talk about what we can expect looking forward. Here's the reason that the cannabis sector is rallying right now is, number one, the sector was like majorly beaten down in the fourth quarter. Some of the early industry leaders like Canopy, for example, were trading at a 50% discount to the 52-week high, and I think that just got a lot of people's attention going into the new year. Investors are sort of taking a fresh look at the broad stock market and a fresh look at cannabis stocks, and they're looking at companies like Canopy saying, hey, I can buy this thing on a huge dip right now. Maybe I should pick up some shares. So I think that the sector was just very oversold. Number two, I also think that we saw some of the weakness in December in the cannabis sector. I think that was driven by a lot of tax loss harvesting, which basically means investors who were sitting on losses in cannabis stocks, and there were definitely some losses in the fourth quarter, they chose to sell those shares and basically get a tax credit for it. So investors who do that, they have to wait, it's either 30 or 60 days until they can buy shares again. I think it's 30. So now that they've made it through the waiting period, I think that some of those investors who are tax loss harvesting are working their way back into the sector. And then finally, the last thing I want to mention, one of the reasons that the cannabis stocks are rallying right now is because the cannabis sector is one of the most shorted sectors in the entire stock market. So if you get a little bit of strength in the share price, shares start rising just a little bit, that starts to erode the short sellers' profits, and they get a little bit nervous. In order for them to lock in their profits and get market neutral, they have to buy back shares. So the point I'm making here is that if you put a little bit of pressure on the short sellers here, they get a little bit nervous, it can really trigger a big wave of reactionary buying. And I definitely think that's what's going on, because Canopy was actually one of the most shorted stocks on the New York Stock Exchange. So hopefully that gives everyone a little bit more information about what's going on. Like, why is the cannabis sector rallying right now? The second thing I want to talk about is looking forward. What can we expect looking forward? In the short run, I think that the broader cannabis sector and Canopy are probably a little bit overbought in the short run. If you take a look at this chart here, this is the Canopy chart. It's a 1-year chart. The relative strength index below the chart, this measures when a stock price is either overbought or oversold. This is closer to being overbought right now in the short run. So I would say, be cautious here in the near term, the next week or two. However, I think more importantly, what this signals is I think that this signals a trend change in the cannabis sector and in Canopy. Canopy broke this downtrend. It's gotten an enormous bounce off the low. So my forecast here is I think the low is in the sector and the low is in on Canopy. I do think that this signals trend reversal here. So for longer term cannabis investors, this is an interesting area here. Anyway, I hope that gives everybody some more insight into what's going on right now. I'll be back in a couple days with another update. Everyone have a great day. See ya.